Now we're going to go right to this Toronto versus Celtics matchup. And look, the Celtics were 1-point underdogs. That caught a little people by surprise. I'm sure Vegas had something to say about that, and Pascal Siakam was going to work early. Had a pretty strong game. And look, when you're going against these forwards, you're going to need that. Pascal Siakam with 17 points in that first half, setting the tone for the game. But the third quarter, Boston getting to work. Jason Tatum, is he having an MVP season? A lot of people are saying that he's having an MVP season and he would be the MVP favorite at this point in time. But just, again, putting in the work. Boston up here by 6 in transition. Getting work. Just some big boy work there by Jason Tatum. But we're going to jump to the fourth quarter. Celtics still leading in Toronto. Tough place to play. Jaylen Brown with the jab step 3. These guys together, I just don't know if there is a better duo. We might have a conversation about that. Then get the guy in the air, little pump fake and one. Ball movement there, swing, and then Chiney. Look, Chiney's doing some work. Chiney, you almost ready for this because we're going to have a conversation.
Yup.
Yes, and look, when you check out the offensive juggernaut, look, offensive efficiency, 3-point field goals per game, 3-point field goal percentage, true shooting percentage. They rank number 1 in all of these categories. And I'm pretty sure if we found more categories, they would probably rank in the top 3. Boston is on pace to smash all kinds of records. And then I want to ask my guy, Mr. Professor, Zach, what is the most impressive Celtic statistic so far?
I mean, all of it. Look, there have been stories that have risen and fallen over a week here or week there. The biggest story on the court in the NBA this whole season is Boston's offense. And you can pick any of those stats. But one, I want to shout out a website called Cleaning the Glass and my guy Ben Falk, who measures half-court points per possession. Half court. Forget transition, fast breaks. Just when the game slows down, how efficient are you? They're number 1 by a country mile. The gap between them at 1 and the second place team is the same as the gap between number 2 and number 16. And remember, this is where they fell apart against Miami when they escaped, and against Golden State when they didn't. When they were turning the ball over, when the game got slow, when they weren't attacking the right matchups, when they weren't moving it fast enough. This year, they are a precision machine of scoring and passing. They're almost in the top 5 in assist rate, which you never would have guessed the way they played the last couple rounds of the playoffs last year. It's the biggest on-court story in basketball. If this Boston offense is like this, they are the championship favorites.
Zach, first of all, let me say this. I've been following basketball for 45 years, even though I'm only 42 years old, and I have never heard points per possession in the half court. That's a new stat, and I actually like it. I respect it, so I'm pretty sure that that's going to get mixed in with everything. But I want to ask Brian Windhorst. Brian, now, we've heard Zach per possession, half court, which is, I'm sure we're going to start hearing more about that. What has been so impressive to you about their start to the season?
Yeah, he mentioned it a little bit, but their assist-to-turnover ratio, they're second in the league in assist-to-turnover. And I went to so many Celtics playoff games last year, and those games in the TD Garden where those guys, especially Jaylen Brown was, there'd be times when he'd just hand the ball away, and Marcus Smart and even Tatum would lose focus. And those turnovers were maybe the biggest reason, that and Steph Curry just being awesome, kept them from winning the title last year. There were so many possessions that they would just hand the ball away. The unforced turnovers just killed this team at times last year. I can still close my eyes and hear the groans in TD Garden when, even as great as those guys were in the stages, how it would drive the fans up a wall the way they would give the ball away. And they have definitely made that a priority, and they have definitely cleaned it up. And look, you cannot be a high-level offensive team like they are if you hand the ball away, and they are not, and they are awesome.
And look, when they fixed the one problem that was turning the ball over, it wasn't just its growth between their young guys, but also bringing in Malcolm Brogdon, bringing in a steady ball handler, allowing those guys to do everything that they normally do, and that's just scoring. But let's take a little bit of a closer look at Tatum and Brown. through the first 25 games, they are averaging 57.5 combined points per game. The last two pair of teammates to average that many points, look, it was James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and then before that, it was Kobe and Shaq. So I got my girl, Chiney, Miss Houston herself. Tell me, is this the best combo in the league?
Right now, the answer is heck yes. It absolutely is. This is the best. Look at that number, 57.5 points per game between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But it's not just that. If you think about it, they also lead their team, who is missing one of their biggest defensive pieces in Robert Williams. Robert Williams.
Yeah, that was right.
I did. That was it. I was like Patrick
you.
Holmes. Yeah, there we go. One of the biggest defensive pieces outside of Marcus Smart. They're top in rebounds per game. And then they also are top in made three-pointers per game. And this is a team that makes the most threes in the NBA. So there's so many categories, as you mentioned, that are top three or top one, offensively and defensively, which is slept on when you think about the Celtics as well.
You know what else is crazy is, yes, they are these guys. They are those dudes. And I know Perk is so happy right now. I know he wishes he can be on the show. But you forget about all the other talent. Again, Al Horford.
Yep.
They have the Defensive Player of the Year on their squad currently. So they are a very complete team.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.